Let's get rich, folks. It's the Podcast Daily, and the Stock Watch is back. It is the last one of training camp. We'll see if we've been making money throughout the month, if we lost any money. None of it's real anyway. It doesn't matter. It's Bill Landis and Jeremy Birmingham. I am Austin Ward. So 2 scrimmages are in the bag. Training camp is winding down. Game week is just several days away as Ohio State starts that on a Sunday. So let's do some investing. Bill, do you have something in your portfolio that you've been eyeing?
Yeah.
You're going to get rich on?
It's offensive line.
Oh.
Yeah. It's Tegra Shabola, I think. Like it's Thursday morning.
Happy Thursday.
We will talk to the offensive line later tonight and Ryan Day. Maybe we'll get a declaration of the starter at right guard. I'm not entirely sure, but I think you guys would agree with me that it feels like Tegra is making some pretty good progress there. Ryan Day described him as playing at I think starter quality is what he said. So I'm thinking that Tegra is going to win that job, and I'm really excited about it. And Tyleek Williams on Wednesday said, like, I'm glad he's a guard. That's like where he should be. He looks really good there. I just think he's a player who might take off a little bit this year. And what does that mean for a guard? I know people aren't usually super locked in on guard play, but I think with some of the stuff that Chip wants to do, running the football and getting those guards in space, moving the offensive line around a little bit, like there's going to be a lot on Tegra's plate, but I think he can handle it, and I think he's physically imposing. I think he's going to move some people. I'm pretty excited in general for the offensive line, but I'm very excited for Tegra Shabola. I think finally going to get his chance to be a starter, and I think he'll make the most of it.
Is Tyleek trying to make a run for the Truth Teller crown? Like, he was doing a lot of that on Wednesday night.
Maybe.
That freedom of being a senior, man, when you have like no worries like that year is always beautiful to watch as people just let go of their.
I liked that. It was stock up on Tyleek Williams and his personality as well.
Mm-hmm. The whole group. I mean, we saw Edric Houston joking around like he always does, and it's fun to see. Guys are feeling a little comfortable. We were at lunch on Wednesday with our good friend Card Collector 2, and we were talking about a lot of things Ohio State football, and one of the guys that was brought up was James Peoples, who we discussed like an over-under on how many carries he gets this year. And I don't know, I think we settled at 85?
I think he's going to have 97.
So 100 is the over-under number.
Thank you.
I don't care if he gets over 100 or under 100. I think he's going to get a lot of carries. And I think this isn't a BP show, but like I think you're talking about a 500-yard season maybe for him.
I'm looking up what Dallin Hayden did as a freshman.
And I think that James Peoples is someone that is going to be on the field a lot for Ohio State, and just hearing about what he does in the scrimmages, seeing the way that he looks out here. I was tempted to pick Jeremiah Smith because he was wearing Joker thigh pads, which is
the moon.
Folks,
do you not already have enough Jeremiah Smith stock?
I mean, I'm saying there's not any left, but like Jeremiah Smith walking after practice on Wednesday night wearing the Joker on his thigh pads is enough to make you go, give him whatever he wants. But James Peoples is my guy. How many did
Dallin Hayden as a freshman in 2022? 111 carries.
How many?
553 yards, 5 yards carry, 5 touchdowns.
100 carries, 500 yards for James Peoples as a freshman. Yeah. I think he'll have.
He had to be like the full-time back for a couple of weeks though, so I think that's a little.
Yeah.
It ballpark is fine. Yeah, I get it.
But more game opportunities. He's going to play a lot more than Dallin did that year, even though Dallin wasn't.
I don't know if that's correct. And I wanted to invest in James Peoples as well, which is a little bit more of a long-term hold for me because I think he's well in line to be the starting running back in 2025. Like, the situation 2 years ago, especially because of the injuries, was not as secure as having Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson. And then factoring in the ability for Brandon Ennis and Emeka Egbuka to supplement the rushing attack and Will Howard with some of the RPO and run opportunities. Like, I don't know that I see the huge amount for James Peoples to run it this year. You want to get him experience. You don't want to run Quinshon and Travion into the ground. All of those things I acknowledge as being true. And if you're going to play 15, 16 times, you don't have to get it all that often. 5 to 6 to 7 carries is going to get you to that point. But I mean, that's a good number to go off of. But I don't want to get too far ahead of things and say it's going to be a 3-man backfield.
I can see 6 different games this year where he should have double-digit carries.
Dallin had 4 games with at least 14 carries that year. And they had like 29. I think it was a Maryland game that got him.
I think I could see 6 games with 14 carries for him.
Okay. I do think the Maryland outliers skewed it, but
yeah, I could see James Peoples getting double-digit carries in the first 3 games.
And then the middle, and then
that
3 games
late.
before Michigan.
Yeah.
At least.
I can see it.
Okay.
Anyhow.
You probably,
James Peoples, that's where I'm putting some of my...
He's good. He's very good.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's G-U-D good.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's exactly how that's spelled. The last time we
It's good.
had a stonk watch, I invested in a linebacker, and I'm afraid it was the wrong one.
Yeah.
The shift and the feedback from insider trading that I was getting was like, you might want to, if you still can, move off of the position you had and put all of that money and then some into Arvell Reese. And that is now where I am investing my resources. I truly don't know.
Reese sources.
Reese horses, yeah. That's,
Got him.
can't spell, but he can make a pun. So he's good to go on that. Good to go on that one. I don't know, like Cody Simon is the starting Mike. Frankly, I'm a little bit surprised that that's where Arvell Reese has landed in this camp as like the Mike of the future. I still think he's freaky enough, athletic enough that he could play in that will role when they go to 3 linebackers. Maybe that's the spot where he really plays a lot too. I don't know. I don't know what that means behind Cody Simon. I don't know what that means. Sonny Styles is going to be the starter at will. CJ Hicks needs to find a role in some form or fashion, blitzing the quarterback. But Arvell Reese is like doing everything at a high level based on the 5 practices that were open, and then some of the feedback that I heard from the scrimmages, in addition to like Ryan Day publicly coming out and saying, hey, he was the defensive player of the game in the first scrimmage.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often to guys who are going to not play once the season rolls around. So I don't know. I couldn't put a snap count on that or a tackle total, but I know he's important to Ohio State.
Question for both of you. The first time we see a defense that has 3 linebackers on the field, who are the 3 linebackers?
Cody, Sonny, and CJ.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Arvell Reese with Sonny and Cody, honestly.
I think I'll say CJ as well, but I don't feel great about the prediction. Feels like Arvell's making a real push.
The reason I say that is because I think because we still believe that CJ is kind of going to be used in a specialized role this year. I don't think that you take Cody off the field when you put CJ on the field. So, and I know that you could just keep Arvell, but Arvell's been repping at Mike, and Cody will be staying on the field. So I don't.
But Cody can play all 3.
He can.
And has.
Now I guess that's the other. Now you got me thinking. Maybe you put Arvell out there at Mike, and you put Cody out there at the Will, and let Sonny play Sam. Oh boy. I don't know. I like what we see out of the linebackers, so I think that any of these guys are worth buying stock of right now, because that to me, and we've said it before, like that was the one position group where I'm like, man, I do not know beyond Cody Simon what you have, and now like you look at it like, okay,
do they have too many?
Not bad at all.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a problem that James Laurinaitis is concerned about.
No, definitely not. That was a good pick. I wanted to pick Arvell. I'll let you have it though.
We're just taking each other's picks, investing each other's stocks.
Can I get some Will Kacmarek? Can I get a little bit of that action?
Come on, man.
I think he's tight end 1. I liked what Ryan Day said about him. Was it reliable, durable? I think he's reliable. I think he is more of a balanced tight end than maybe we give him credit for, because there's just such a hyper focus on blocking. But I think he has receiving upside. It was very cool to hear about the work he has tried to put in this offseason to become a better, more well-rounded, more versatile, I guess, receiver in terms of the routes that he's able to run. I don't think he's going to be a prolific receiver for this team, but I think he'll be everything this team needs receiving-wise out of the tight end position, which I don't think is going to be a ton this year. And I think he's going to be the best blocking tight end we've seen here since Luke Farrell. So I'll take that stock. I think he's going to have a good year.
How many catches do you think he'll have?
Over under 20. 20 and a half, over under.
I'll go like slightly over. I think he's going to have like 26.
We did get questions about this, and it was brought up on Tuesday night with the tight ends. It was like, hey, did you guys know that Will Howard loves to throw to the tight end? Like, we did, but the weapons at Kansas State were a little bit different than what he's got at Ohio State.
Yeah,
I don't think it's because he's got a fixation on throwing to the tight end.
And that tight end was a fullback.
Yeah. I think there's something to him having to throw the ball to the tight end so much that would make him comfortable throwing over the middle of the field, which then increases the opportunities for Ohio State's tight ends.
But you know who else you can run across the middle
But
of
you
him?
could put Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka and Brandon Ennis and Carnell Tate and whoever else you want in the middle of the field.
We can keep going.
Yeah. I was talking to Edric Houston on Wednesday night, and I asked him why he wears number 96. Okay, because I'm like, that's kind of a bad number, right? Let's be honest, it's not a good number for a true freshman 5-star defensive end.
It was the year the Columbus Crew were founded.
Yeah.
For a 5-star defensive end coming from he's a guy who you basically say in the recruiting process, what number do you want to wear, Edric? And he's like, says whatever he says, and then you're like, you got it, dude. And he wanted to wear number 9, and they were like, sorry. Well,
You actually can't do that.
Sorry.
Who's a 9?
Yeah, Malik's got it. So
Malik Hartford. Yeah.
So and you couldn't. I asked him, you couldn't get Malik to give that up to you. And he's like, Malik's a really good player.
Yeah.
And he said no.
Is this a stock up then on Edric Houston?
It's a stock up on Malik Hartford.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow. What a journey.
I like to.
How did we get there?
I like to tell a story. Malik Hartford is a guy who obviously talked about a lot last year, then fell off, then didn't really talk about him throughout the spring because he was injured. I think that he's going to be an important part of this defense at some point. It may not be that much this year, but what he does on special teams, what he does as a physical enforcer, with Lathan and Caleb Downs being the more cerebral safety types, I think you need a headhunter, and he is definitely the headhunter. Stock up on Malik Hartford, and I'm surprised he didn't give the number up, to be honest, because the reason that Edric wants to wear it is because it was his brother's number, and his brother passed away a couple years ago. And I'm surprised he couldn't pull out the heartstrings.
Well, maybe he didn't play
Maybe
that.
he didn't try to.
Yeah, I told him he should have done it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what you've learned here is Malik Hartford is cold-blooded.
Malik he changed too, right? He was 25
right.
last year. He's got to have a single digit though. If you're a maniac headhunting safety, you got to be a single digit.
It is the law.
Yeah. It's in the Constitution.
It'd be un-American to not do that.
So Malik Hartford. I was going to pick Leroy Roker. We were talking about him, but that's not going to happen this year. He's going to turn heads in practice and flash, but he's not going to.
We go. You
usually
get
get
Leroy Jenkins, Leroy Roker.
It seems almost impossible that I don't do that at some point.
But you love to get to the end of training camp and
I
invest
know.
for
I like to
2025.
get a futures thing working.
I think Leroy Roker is investing for 2026. He'd be really down the road.
Right.
It may be. It may be. I have 2 picks on the offensive line.
Hell yeah.
Really just cribbing off of Bill's notes.
Seth McLaughlin and
It's Seth McLaughlin and it is Josh Simmons, because I have felt fine about Josh Simmons. I think that he was better than he got credit for last year. I've also pointed out that some of the penalties still existed. I don't think that I've been negative about Josh Simmons or the outlook for him moving forward, but I definitely think I was underestimating how highly everyone in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center thinks about him, and especially when JT Tuimoloau or respected defensive ends and pass rushers are like, hey, this guy's pretty crazy good. He's making us really work in a way that we haven't heard about anyone really since Paris Johnson. And I'm not saying that Josh Simmons is going to be Paris Johnson, but the comparisons to his ability to use his feet, the quickness that he has, the way that he's using his hands, Berm is probably right that he's going to be a draft pick next spring.
second-round draft pick.
But I think he might be a first-round draft pick at the rate that he's going.
I want to say this to whomever. I apologize. We obviously do a lot of videos. There's a lot of comments. Someone in the comment section, I believe it was last night after Snap Judgments or after the Daily on Tuesday, mentioned that Josh Simmons was a highly recruited transfer portal guy, and everyone wanted him, and it was an easy take for Ohio State to take him. And whoever said that, I would like to know what you were drinking.
That was not true.
Because the Buckeyes were universally excoriated for taking Josh Simmons and projecting him as a starting tackle.
Because he wasn't good at San Diego
Because
State.
he wasn't good. And
He
now
was
he's-
one of the worst graded Mountain West Conference tackles.
So I'm not sure if that comment was made in jest or if it was another way to try and defame Justin Fry or whatever. Fine, whatever. That's not true. So let's be clear.
Yeah, that wouldn't check out. But the point is, if Ohio State wound up with, if Justin Fry, Ryan Day, trusted their evaluation and said, well, maybe San Diego State, the level of coaching wasn't right. We still believe the tools. Like, I do think he goes in the pro bucket here for Justin Fry. And we've mentioned the development of DeJuan Jones and, finishing things off the last couple of years, putting some guys into the league. Like, I think Josh Simmons counts as well. Like, I know that there are understandable and perhaps even justified criticisms of the way Ohio State has been recruiting offensive linemen, but I think that if Seth McLaughlin has got things trending in the right direction, Tegra Shabola is playing at a high level, Josh Fryer is looking like he could play himself into position for, third, fourth, fifth round draft pick. I don't know. We'll see when they get back out on the field. And if Josh Simmons truly elevates for one more year, like that, to me, would be a stock up on the quality of position coaching that Justin Fry is providing. And we'll see. The games are about to start in 9 days, but I think that there's a lot to like about Ohio State's offensive line as a whole.
There was a lot of positive conversation from the defensive line about Seth McLaughlin on Wednesday night about his intelligence and how difficult he is to play against and how smart he is. Like the defensive line saying, if we want to know what the play is, we ask him because he knows everything. Like for a guy that's been here for 8 months to be in that position and be the apex is pretty impressive.
Somebody who was was aware, cognizant of what was happening in the scrimmage on Saturday, said that Seth McLaughlin played better than anybody on the offensive line. So that's just one person.
Someone who watched it, you mean?
I don't know.
Potentially.
They potentially watched it. They had eyeballs on it, and that was their takeaway. Now, you'd say,
was Connor Stallion?
He's awesome.
Okay.
He's the best in the business at scouting anyone and getting their practice footage. So thank you. And also his documentary comes out next week.
No thanks.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so you asked, well, then why did not I just take Seth McLaughlin instead of Josh Simmons? Well, it's because I
took them both.
I wanted to have them both.
You can take them both.
I think what you're getting at here is it's stock up on Ohio State's post-recruiting evaluations and their ability to evaluate.
Which could be very important
transfers.
because they're going to probably need portal tackles after the season.
Almost assuredly, yeah.
Okay, one more. Who you got, Bill?
I'm trying to remember. I got some Josh Simmons, I think, the last time we did this, so I'm okay there.
Sorry, I just bought it.
None left.
We'll share it.
Tough break.
We'll share it. I'm trying to think of someone I can pick that we haven't talked about yet.
I'm going to take someone.
Can I buy some stock in tush pushing?
Oh no. Let's do it. Get into it.
Yeah. Well, Berm brought it up to Chip Kelly as Chip Kelly was walking off the practice field, and I saw a little bit of a what do they call that, a glint in the eye of Chip Kelly.
I feel like it's something that this offense will be able to do.
Smirk, a wry smile, if you will.
Wry smile.
I think we're going to see a little bit of it. So before Berm can take any of it, even though it's his idea.
I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to. What I am going to do is take the adjacent of taking Will Howard. I don't think that there's been enough. He's the starter now. This is not a guy who's the starter at Ohio State because he's the oldest guy or because he's tall. Like the way people,
That'd be a heck of a way to
the way people.
Well, it's you, Manute Bowl.
Like
you are the starting quarterback.
People around here really think Will Howard is going to be pretty freaking good for Ohio State. So,
Caleb Downs said he's elite.
So like, I know that there's this mindset out there that he's just going to be a game manager type for the Buckeyes. I do not think that's the case, and I really do think that he has the chance to have a dynamic season, and I would be willing to bet that he will be in New York as a Heisman finalist.
I told you that's not a way.
I know. I said I'm willing to do it. I'm not
willing
allowed.
to do it. He wants to be able to do it. I mean, you can probably find an offshore.
I really do think that there's not nearly enough discussion about what he is going to do for this offense and the multiple ways he can hurt a defense.
So how many tush push tutties is Will Howard going to have?
4.
4? All right. If you've been dying to see the quarterback sneak in the Ohio State offense, I think there's a good chance of it.
You got to have a sturdy QB. He's willing to get his hands dirty.
You have a low center,
a center who understands the proper leverage, and then like you get a big old back like Quinshawn Judkins, just getting it over the line,
or Will Kazmarek,
or a tight end. Tight end telegraphs it a little bit, but
who cares?
Yeah.
It telegraphs it.
Isn't the whole play telegraphed?
I mean, when Jalen Hurts gets the line, everyone knows it's coming. They can't stop
true.
it.
Isn't that the whole point of the play?
They did pull out of it one time. I don't know if it worked or not.
Imagine a little play action tush push.
Just
a little annexation of Puerto Rico.
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
Just a lot of self-restraint that has to go in when somebody says pulling out of the tush push. That's a wild scene.
We're adults.
We are Sometimes it does.
What's your last one?
I picked
Bill-
2 in round 2. I feel like
Bill took
I tapped out.
A play.
I do think that
thumbs up on pastel florals.
Mylan Graham reminds me so much of Garrett Wilson that I can't stop thinking about it. He had that touchdown in the last practice that we saw.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's happened since then. There have been like some encouraging things. I think that his name came up and I was like, well, he realized that it wasn't going to be always that easy. He plateaued a little bit. Normal things for a true freshman, especially one who didn't enroll early. But physically, I remember it was right where we're standing for one of those camps this summer. And he was in here. Was that May? Maybe it was
He was here working out.
He was working out. It was like right here. And I was like, who is that NFL veteran that's back over there? I was like, is that Terry McLaurin down there? Or who is that? Oh, no, that's Mylan Graham. Oh, that's not an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, whatever he was at the time in the summer. So, again.
It's a future stonk.
It's a future stonk.
I like it.
But I think that there's a world where we keep talking about who would it be when they get to number 5. I think it'll be Bryson Rogers. Now, I think there's a world by November where number 5 could be number 5.
I was going to ask, do you want to give him the Chris Olave "Where'd this guy come from?" the score against Michigan award?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I like it.
I don't know who's going to block the punt to him.
Oh.
Sonny Styles, I guess.
Leroy Roker.
Leroy Roker. Okay, that's a callback, and we're done with that. Those are Thursday stonks. We're getting close to bold prediction time because there's a week to go. So we ought to have some season-long bold Ps. Those are going to be coming on the Friday, Freaky Friday.
We would
version.
like a couple of your bold predictions, America. So send them in on subtext, please, or the comments on this show. Let us know your bold prediction for the season.
Season BPs, because we will have Akron BPs on Freaky Friday next week, but this has been Thursday. These are stonks. And that is Bill Landis, and he's Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. Thursday night, later today, we're going to be back in the Woody. We're going to be talking to Justin Fry and that Ohio State offensive line. So brace yourself for a 75-minute episode of Snap Judgments. Buckle up for that. We'll be back for those later with these 2 guys and me. See ya.